slow.
It's
Good evening. We'll call to order the special meeting for the City of Gahanna City Council for Monday, January 13th, 2025. Mr. Van Meter, if you would please call the roll.
Bowers.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
McGregor.
Here.
Padova.
Here.
Renner.
Here.
Schnetzer.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Thank you. We have one item on this evening's special agenda. This was brought forward through notice from the Ohio Municipal League requesting that members consider a resolution joining a litigation or an objection to a tariff revision proposed by AT&T to require municipalities to pay for the relocation of utilities. I'll note as a matter of process that the city attorney has redlined the model ordinance, and that is identified as item 2 on the agenda this evening. So it is the red line that we are considering for adoption tonight. And with that introduction, I think I'll turn it over to Mayor Jadwin for some comments from the administration.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And I appreciate the flexibility in scheduling this special meeting. I appreciated the cooperation of the city attorney and you as well. This proposed tariff really kind of came out of the blue for us. It was presented December 18th, as we all know, to PUCO. We, as in most municipalities, in fact, all, I believe, found out about it last Thursday afternoon, late in the evening. The proposed tariff does pose some serious concerns to not only to the city of Gahanna, but I would say to many municipalities like us. I spent a good part of Friday on the phone, as well as over the weekend with some of my counterparts in mayoral positions. They are also evaluating what we are discussing tonight because I think everybody recognizes the potential impacts that this tariff would have. Cost, timing, design, transparency are all topics that have come up. I do have Director Comlank here with us, as well as Senior Director Schultz, who can also provide some commentary about what we would expect, just even at a high level, should this tariff go into effect, what the impacts would be for the city of Gahanna. And quite simply, I do believe they would be cost prohibitive for us for almost every infrastructure project that we would look to do in the city. So with that, I would invite Director Comlank and Director Schultz, if you'd like to both come up and add some comments, if you would.
Good evening and a belated New Year to members of council. Hopefully everyone's had a good holiday and the New Year is off to a good start. As Mayor Jadwin has alluded to, this information came available to me. I was provided notice late in the day on Thursday through various channels.
Welcome to the new year, Tom.
Yeah, one time I'll get this correct. Through various channels, the American Public Works Association of Ohio, local municipal engineers and public works officials had circulated this information from the Ohio Municipal League as it relates to the potential tariff related to AT&T and the city absorbing cost associated with relocation on city-led improvements. As you're aware, we have several projects coming up here in 2025, 26, and through our CIP. Several significant projects that likely will have just a cost adder to the project that could make those costs just exorbitant from the local taxpayer paying, as well as ratepayer as it goes to water, sanitary, storm, and the associated improvements. We have the West Gahanna sewer improvements on Hamilton Road, sewer improvements on Klotz Road. We recently completed the Taylor Station Claycraft roundabout project. With that, we have our own telecommunication facilities and had a cost right around $100,000 in relocation just for our fiber optic utility. So you add that to other projects, it's going to have a profound and challenging impacts on our ability to administer and manage our public right-of-way, as well as areas where we have joint easements where they tend to get quite crowded in rear yards, side yards where storm, sanitary, and utilities such as AT&T co-located and easements as well.
Tom, could you also speak to, I know we were talking a little bit, you mentioned AMPW, APWA.
American Public Works
Sorry,
Association.
all the acronyms, so they spin in my head sometimes. But my understanding is part of this tariffs also could apply in an emergent situation. So for example, we have a water line break that needs to be repaired. Would
Yeah.
this tariff impact that, and if so, how?
Yeah, those costs then, if there were relocations associated with that work, those costs otherwise would come back to the city as well.
Thank you, Director Comlank. Senior Director Schultz, anything? Okay, thank you. All right, colleagues, questions or comments regarding the resolution? Mr. Renner?
Thank you. I just want to comment for the record, and I probably shared by everybody, but this isn't about the resolution, but this system, the PUCO system, for good or for bad, we all have different opinions about it, but it's actually supposed to have safeguards to protect everybody in the state of Ohio from stuff like this. So there's another question here. How did this happen, and who do we need to talk to about this? Or is it like our state representative, or is it our senator or something? That this can't happen again. So that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. And I apologize, City Attorney Tamala Larison, did you have anything that you wanted to speak about this issue on?
I will just add that I luckily, as of this evening, have made contact with the attorneys at Taft, and so things are in place now if the resolution is approved, that we can hit the ground running with them as well. So we should be timely by calling this special session.
Thank you, City Attorney Tamala Larison. All right. I will just express my gratitude to City Attorney Tamala Larison, Clerk Van Meter, Director Comlank, and Mayor Jadwin for collaborating on bringing this forward. Certainly, this is an important issue and will impede our ability to engage in further infrastructure projects in a cost-effective manner. So with that, I guess if there's no further discussion, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the resolution as identified in the red line exhibit in item number 2, resolution 004-2025. Is there a first to adopt the resolution?
First, so moved.
I have a first by Mr. Renner,
Second.
a second by Mr. Weaver. Any further discussion on this item tonight? Yes. Oh, Mr. Schnitzer, is that a hand? Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Renner?
Yes.
Weaver? Yes. Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Schnetzer? Yes. Bowers?
Yes. All right, motion carries and resolution 004-2025 is adopted. All right, with that, there is no further business on the special meeting agenda for this evening, so we will adjourn the special meeting at 6:55.
right. All right, good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, January 13th, 2025. I've got 7:01, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Committee of the Whole to order. We will start first with items from the Senior Director of Administrative Services. Good evening, Director Bulmer.
Good evening. I'm here today with just, sorry, that was very loud. Just a brief update on the strategic plan. We have a lot on in January, so I just want to give a brief overview. I showed this last time, but my technology wasn't working. So here's an overview of the timeline that's projected for the 14th month planning process. Right now, we're in round one in that gold box. And the round one public engagement will help to inform the future vision of Gahanna. So what's the engagement round one are what is termed table talks. Table talks are a highly interactive small group workshop to gather ideas that will help guide the city's vision for the next 10 years. Typically, those are held in groups of 10 or less. And then the folks who should participate is anyone who has an interest in the future of Gahanna, including residents, business owners, folks who work in the city, and frequent visitors. So on the right there, you can see if you can't participate in a table talk, you can also take the table talk survey online. It's very similar to the in-person table talks. It's just an online version. If you're busy or just prefer to take this in the comfort of your home from your couch, you can take that survey instead of coming out for a table talk. So members of the steering committee and members of city staff are conducting table talks. The steering committee members have signed up to conduct those table talks, and then we're also having 3 open call table talks for any resident who misses one of the other table talks. They can sign up. They are the Thursday, the 16th, January 25th, and the 29th, and you can sign up for those online at ourgahanna.com. And again, if you can't, you would either participate in an in-person table talk or the survey, and so the survey link is there as well. We've done new social media posts to encourage folks to take the survey, went out in city newsletters. Clerk Van Meter assisted us in getting invitations out to all boards and commissions. And there is a joint City Council and Planning Commission table talk that will be facilitated by Planning Next on January 21st at 6 p.m. So we hope you can join us for that. If not, you could reach out to a steering committee member, participate in theirs, or take the online survey as well. To learn more, you can visit artgahanna.com. It's a comprehensive website that explains what the strategic plan is, the planning process, how long that takes, review the FAQs, and meet the steering committee as well. And so after the table talk occurs during the month of January, Planning Next will gather all the data and start to look at that data to share with the steering committee. And then they will be back to provide an update on the results of that, I believe, in March. And then the round 2 engagement starts in April. And so if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of those questions.
Thank you, Director. Any discussion or questions from my colleagues? Ms. Jones?
Yeah. For the table talks, how are we ensuring that there's, just a diverse range of participation amongst the steering committee and what the city will host?
And so one of the reasons the steering committee was selected by Planning Next was very intentional to ensure the demographics of the city were represented so that those individuals then will go out to their networks, friends, coworkers, community groups to collect that information. As well, at the end of the table talk, there is a QR code where we're asking participants to scan that, and there is an anonymous demographic collection of information so that Planning Next has that information when they're reviewing and analyzing those results.
Mr. Renner?
Miranda, I just want to make sure I understand. So now that you have a link for the survey, can we just start putting that and plastering it everywhere?
You sure can, yes. The communications and marketing did share a post over the weekend that has it shows what the actual survey button looks like on the website and the link and all that. So that has some good information to share.
I saw that, and a very, very nice job. But as you know, we have a lot of Facebook keyboard warriors, and I'd like to actually just say, boom, here.
Yeah. Yeah, the more places we can post that survey link, encouraging folks to take that through the month of January, the better off we'll be, because the survey also collects the demographics at the end, should individuals wish to report those.
Thank you.
If we could stress, though, if you take the survey, do you go to the table talk, or?
No, one or the other. One or the other. The survey is based on the table talk. So the table talk is a good chance to interact with your neighbors, residents, business owners, friends, colleagues who work in the city, because you get to do some fun interactive activities that are actually pretty fun. But in the reverse, I know people are busy. You can take the survey, and it's many of the very same questions. It's just not as interactive, should you participate in person.
Ms. Bowers?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the update, Director Vollmer. So the activities that are part of the table talk session are very interactive and they're creative. Could you share a little bit about how Planning Next will synthesize the information that they are able to extract out of those activities from the table talk sessions?
Yeah, we haven't talked too much about it yet, but I do know that they will take all of that data. They have a system that they put that data in, and they will start to identify themes or different topics that they uncover, as well as what they do then is they give a subset of that data to the steering committee, and the steering committee will help identify those trends in different many things that people talk about as well, to help establish the trends which then inform the vision. The visioning piece of it.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, thank you very much, Director.
Actually, one more question.
Yes, Ms. Bowers?
All right, thank you, sorry. Director Vollmer, could you explain the importance of participation? Like, why does it matter for people to participate in these table talk sessions?
Yes, it is important to participate because this is the first round of engagement. Part of Planning Next scope of work is to determine the vision for the future of Gahanna. And the only way to determine the future of the vision of Gahanna is for those folks who live, work, and play in the city of Gahanna to let us know, me, yourselves, the mayor, the city attorney, what they think the vision of Gahanna is. And that's what this table talk is doing. It's not like, I want to see my road paved. It's more of, what do you love about Gahanna? What makes you want to come to Gahanna? Why do you like to be here, right? We had those poster boards out at like Holiday Lights. There's one in my office, and it said like, what do you like about Gahanna, right? And you put a little sticker everywhere. So that information really is going to inform the vision, because in order to create a plan around what we're going to do, we need a vision so that everybody's working in the same direction. So it's very vital that everybody participate in this survey or attend a table talk. We are looking to engage over 1,000 people, and so, the more people, the better, so that we have, this is your time to shine. If you care about Gahanna, want to see it succeed, we need your help creating that vision to move forward.
Sorry, I have more because you
Yes, Jen.
prompted more questions. So, two questions, I think. One is, do we know how close we are to that engaging 1,000? And if we don't get there, is the timeline flexible to get closer?
Yeah, so the timeline is flexible up to a certain point because we do have targets that we need to reach, as well as, trying to get 30 people to come to a steering committee that's been pre-scheduled for a few months. We really don't want to move that, and that's in mid-February. So it is likely we will extend it a little bit past the end of January, probably through the first week of February. So far, participation, because how they gauge participation is through the QR codes that people are giving the information and then the online survey. It is very low, under 100 low. So Planning Next said not to get too worried yet because came off the holidays, had a snowstorm, school cancellations, and so now we're kind of getting back in the swing of things here in mid-January.
Okay. And then knowing that this is, thinking future state of the community, do you know if there's been any intentional outreach to like our high school or
Yes.
youth? Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Excellent.
And if anybody has any ideas or has different groups they would like to issue a table talk to, we're more than happy to come get you a box and teach you how to do it, or we can come out and facilitate it for you. We will have postcards with the QR code to the survey this week to distribute at the Chamber annual lunch to our business community, and then we're working to get those out in the community as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director. I think you're off the hook this time. All right, next up, we have items from the council office. We have a newsletter proposal for council communications, and for this, I will turn things up. Good evening.
All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening to council, Mayor Jadwin. Going to do a shout out for Priya too on the dais. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Jessica Hiltz. I'm honored to be part of the 3-person team that serves the council office. My specific role is the management analyst, and that means I focus on research and communication for council, which leads us to this really exciting new plan. All right. The goal of this newsletter here, let's see. Sorry guys, I'm not used to being in front of the dais. I like being on that side of it. Tonight I'm happy to introduce an exciting new opportunity that council staff put a lot of thought into, and that's this newsletter. This idea grew out of a need to support the community members in feeling informed and connected to their representatives. The goal of the newsletter is to showcase opportunities for community members to connect with their representatives. The newsletter complements existing communications and policies rather than duplicating those efforts or fighting them. The newsletter focuses specifically on council roles in the legislative process and amplifies civic opportunities and resources. The newsletter will better empower community members to connect with their representatives. It will let community members know about council office initiatives, including the council office's huge initiative right now is trying to preserve records and get those out to the public. A lot of the public don't know what's available to them, so we're trying to highlight some of that information. Okay. The newsletter will feature 6 key sections offering a well-rounded view of council activities and updates. So I wanted to give you a sneak peek. I apologize that if it doesn't come through too well through this presentation, but it is attached to the agenda item for anybody watching too. The sections include legislative highlights, member spotlights from the archives, and that really bleached out little image below is actually a photo of council meeting minutes from the 1800s, handwritten. We have community highlights, in the know, and then contact information. So legislative highlights, with this being a bi-monthly newsletter, would be a look back over a 2-month period, let you know what meetings are there. Those are actually all hyperlinks to those meetings too, so folks can link up and see what they missed if they weren't here in person, or if you want to hear exactly what was said by your representatives. And then also a review of legislation over that time period, some big initiatives. And then if we know of something that's coming up that we're anticipating, we can also highlight it there so that folks, if you're interested in something, you can know which meetings you might want to pop into. The member spotlights, we want to highlight professional developments for our council members that relate to the roles as representatives for community members. And right there, we've got a photo of the council office team at the top-out ceremony the city held that will be at the site of the new city complex, which is really exciting. So things like that, celebratory moments too. From the archives will be our area where we can highlight the city records that are being preserved and get people so that they can actually connect with those. Some of the information is funny that you look back and see it come across some very interesting stories. What was on the top of mind for community members in the 1800s versus today? Some things are the same, some things are definitely not. But it's fun, and I think people being able to access the records, I think it's a really good thing. It's an exciting thing. We also have community highlights, and that's really exciting because you get to see what your council members are actually doing in the community. And we get to highlight what our community partners are doing too, so it celebrates everybody. Things from ribbon cuttings, holiday lights. We can also highlight things that are upcoming. For example, there will be an empowering women's walk coming up here in February 2nd, so keep an eye out for that information. And that's the kind of thing we can highlight there that community members would be interested in. We have the in the know section where we can put up upcoming meetings, and then also constituent hours where you can have face-to-face time with your representatives, ask them questions, let them know important issues. And then the contact information is pretty self-explanatory, but we'll have links so you can directly email members, staff. Just want to make sure that you have a direct line of contact to your representatives. And the newsletter will also leverage existing resources by utilizing current software, templates, style guides, logos, and the hope is that we're going to partner with the resources we have to deliver a really polished, cohesive product. Staff created a structured timeline with defined steps to ensure a smooth and efficient process. This fully digital publication will be distributed via email and prominently featured on council pages of the city website, emphasizing accessibility, cost-effectiveness, consistency, and convenience for our community. The newsletter operates within existing resources, requiring no additional financial investment, which is exciting right after budget season. The workflow is designed to integrate seamlessly with council office operations, ensuring efficiency and alignment with ongoing activities. Focusing on council-related content, this initiative complements broader city communications. Rather than duplicating efforts, the newsletter establishes a direct and dedicated line of communication between council members and the Gahanna community members. All right, tonight, here comes the ask. Tonight, I'm seeking your feedback and approval to move forward with a bi-monthly council newsletter as a pilot program. Details for the proposed plan were provided in the agenda attached. The agenda attachment, it's labeled City Council Newsletter Draft Plan, and that's something community members can access to. This proof of concept will provide an opportunity to refine the process with council's input. If successful, the newsletter has the potential to become a valuable resource for the community. The council office staff will collaborate closely with council members and city staff to ensure that this reflects our shared values and priorities. It's a low-risk initiative with the potential for a significant positive impact. Thank you for considering this initiative. And I just want to let you guys know that our team is really confident that this newsletter can strengthen our community connections. I welcome your thoughts and your input. Please be gentle, not a public speaker. Thanks, God.
All right, Ms. Hiltz, thank you so much. And I'll chime in first with just a huge thank you to you, Ms. McGuire, Clerk Van Meter, for all of your efforts on this, and, well, of course, in all your work that you do every day. But this has been a huge endeavor, so thank you very much. I'll open it up to my colleagues. Any questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Schnetzer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate the presentation. Not going to get much pushback from me with regard to anything that helps to kind of educate the residents. I think that's always a good thing, that people know how their government works. I just want to make sure I heard correctly. The plan for now and in the future is fully digital, not, I guess I was doing some math in my head, and if we were going to start sending this out via mail, I think the postage could get quite expensive, certainly if we're sending 6 or 4 of these out per year, per year. So just want to make sure that right now this is fully digital and no additional costs are expected to be incurred.
100%. The software is something the city owns. They utilize it for the city newsletter. There's the senior newsletter. There's Parks and Recs newsletter. So it's not anything that's totally out of left field. We're utilizing infrastructure that's already there. Want to keep digital for sustainability effort and also for frugality. Yeah, so we're picking a very low-risk, low-impact initiative on the cost side, high impact on positive outcome for residents.
Perfect. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Jones?
First, just thank you. I know this is a lot of work to pull this together, and I appreciate seeing a mock-up as well. So I have a few questions. I think the first one is, have you thought about or do you envision those of us that have our own individual newsletters, how that ties in? Should we think about those differently? Are you timing differently? I guess just how do you think about our individual newsletters and this kind of, I guess, working together?
Sure, that's a great question. So I confided in President Bowers earlier today, and you probably noticed when you're looking at the mock-up, I definitely looked at your existing newsletters. And the concept of this council newsletter is not for staff to voice their opinions. It's to capture council's voice as a collective. So it's no one person, and it's not staff trying to push their agenda, it's council's voice. So trying to look at what you already have out there, capture what you're saying, and amplify that community collective message. As to the specific newsletters for each member, there's no reason you have to stop with those. You can go into more detail about your specific initiatives, and that's something that if you reached out to, we could amplify that with a council newsletter, you know, hey, if you want more information on council initiatives, please check out here. We can also do that on the council pages on the city website and have direct contact with your specific newsletters too. So I think staff would defer to whatever council member's preference is. We don't really have a preference one way or the other. We're just trying to amplify council's voice.
Okay, cool. And then knowing that this is, you know, we'll try it out, see how it works. Do we know, I guess, average open rate or click rate of other city newsletters to kind of understand where the council one is and if it's, you know, if it's working, do you continue the effort or not? But is there a comparison?
There is a metric that's in the software that you can look at how it's been opened when it's been sent. I will say I took a very tiny look at existing newsletters that are out there, and it seems like there's a pretty wide range of results between the publications that are out there. And that's something I would definitely look to the experts on the communications team for any advice they have. We have a wonderful team of experts that we can lean on for insights too, and I'm sure they've looked at those items.
Okay. And then last question, sorry. So, you know, you had the ask of if council's aligned, so saying we are aligned, we move forward, what do you then need from us to ensure the success of this?
I need content. I think with the idea we have that framework, let me go back. If you know this is the framework and this works for the team, then providing that information so that we're giving a good window into council initiatives for the public, in that it's not heavy towards one member or another member. We want to make sure that we're representing everybody, all the wards, all that largest. We want to make sure that everybody's heard there. So if you can let me know what you're doing, what's important to highlight there, we want to make sure that we're amplifying that message.
Ms. Bowers?
Yeah, if you could just touch a little bit on audience and how we are going to create subscribers.
Yeah, so thank you for the question. And kind of going off the point about existing newsletters, some of you have very active social media platforms, some of you have newsletters going. What we want to do is amplify those areas of connection and use those as an inroad to get this communication out. So we're looking to, during council meetings, obviously we can say, hey, here's another resource, another way to connect with us. On your personal newsletters, you can make notice of this. Social media platforms, I can put together social media content that you can flood your social media channels with to say, hey, here's another opportunity. We would also put that on our web pages that we have control over, to just say, here's another opportunity, click here. At council meetings, we're looking to put up maybe like a QR code that folks can scan. You're already here, you're already interested. There's just another really easy avenue. So I don't think it's pick one option, I think it's pick all of them and constantly learn and grow. And we'll also be picking the brains of the communications team to see if they have any advice too.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Padova.
Thank you so much for putting this together. I really love the layout and the specific like content that you have. I think it's a good reflection of kind of like our past, present, and future. And I was wondering, I saw on here the timeline that you have, and you have it broken down into 4 weeks. So I'm guessing that, like, if we started this for the January and February of this year, you would be, week 1 would be the first week of March, and then it would go out the end of March for January and February.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, you're right on track, because that gives us time to look back
Okay.
at the 2-month period. Obviously, part of the pilot program is trying to fine tune what's working, what's not. Can we condense that so that we can try and make our publication relevant to folks too? The nice thing is that all our communication with the public is not limited to the newsletter. We also have our council pages for things that are more immediate, but partnering with those different channels to make sure that we have a comprehensive look at the info. But we'll fine tune it, and if some of the feedback we get is maybe condense that timeline, we can look and see how pragmatic we can be about that.
Okay. And then, was there any reason for, I'm just curious, why do like bi-monthly instead of quarterly, or monthly seems like a lot, but just wondering how that number was come to.
Yeah, great question. So monthly would be a lot, since we're going from nothing to this, so we want to give it a fair shot for a pilot program. So 2 months seemed like a good balance between giving ourselves enough room to make sure we had content that is full. We don't want to like over-exaggerate limited content. We don't know until we start this process, you know, what the wealth is of information. If we wait quarterly, I can say from looking at the 2-month period for this pilot, because this edition is ready to go. This is a January, February edition right here. We had a lot of information, and it did not all fit in here. So I felt bad for the things he cut, like little kids, you know. I felt really bad, but we picked out our highlights, and this is not everything that council has done, but it's a good taste. It's like a sampling, and if you are interested in learning more, you can go to individual council members' newsletters, you can go to their pages, you can email them. But this seemed like a good starting point, and if we get into it and say, you know, I know monthly would be a lot, but maybe it's worthwhile, we can look into it. If we look into it and say, maybe we need to back off to quarterly, that's something that we can correct as we go through the pilot process.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
I just had one question. First of all, Jess, well done. I know you were a little nervous, but you did very well. Thank you for your effort in putting this together, overseeing the communications and marketing team here. I know what a big lift that is. I can certainly understand council's desire to have a separate communication that speaks specifically to the work of council as a body. Question I have, so we have the team upstairs. You talked about working with them with regard to aligning kind of the vision or the branding, kind of that feel to it. One of the things that I heard you talk a little bit about is in terms of what would be included in here are things like ribbon cuttings and community events and things like that, which are things that we cover already in the city newsletter, sometimes in the Parks and Recs newsletter, sometimes in the Senior Center newsletter. So can you speak a little bit to how we would align messaging so that we are sharing the same information and we're not playing beat the clock as to who's going to get the information out first? Sometimes we have projects that have very strategic communication plans with them, so making sure that we're in alignment with that and when and how information is shared on a certain project, I think would be very important. So how do you envision that working together with the communications team?
Yeah, great question, and I would say don't worry about beat the clock with us. This is not a source of publication that's going to be, you know, like cutting edge news. This is more of a look back and then a couple of things to look ahead of for big vision too. The nice thing is that our team works really well with the rest of the city. We're all on the same team, and we all have the same goal of making sure this is the best community we can make it, supporting it. I live here, so I'm a little partial. And I've only been here since June, and I will say that the marketing team has been fabulous for all the questions. They provided the logos. They provided me the branding guide that influences the colors here. These are all approved colors.
I noticed that, thank you.
Definitely. So it's a really nice opportunity to increase the collaboration. And I'm excited about it because there is such a great pool of experts. So I don't envision it being a tug of war. I envision it being a really good opportunity to partner more. This is specifically council-focused, a deeper dive. So it wouldn't even be, who gets to tell the story. It's more an amplification of the city story. So the city might have one lens, whereas the council office might have a different lens. It still could be different information, even if it ties to the same events. So I think I'm excited, and we can fine tune it as we go. I was going to go back to some of these shots here. So this community highlights, for example, that's one where it mentions the ribbon cutting, but it's just a tiny section of the newsletter. So I don't see that contending with any other communication that's out there. And I know we're already in contact. For instance, there was a resolution honoring Mr. Renner not too long ago, and their team reached out and wanted more information on it. I drafted up a social media post. They fixed it up and made it even nicer, enhanced it, and that collaboration resulted in a lovely post that's getting a lot of attention too. So it's just, all we're doing is working towards the same end. So I'm excited.
No, and I appreciate that, and that was, and I appreciate the work with the team. And that would be one of my concerns is we're trying to work very hard to make sure we have a consistent voice throughout the city. So making sure that we're all still singing from the same hymnal, so to speak. We all sound like part of the city of Gahanna, because we all are. To your point, we're all here, we're all under the umbrella of the city. So I appreciate that answer. To Councilman Schnetzer's point, you cannot get information. There's no limit to the number of ways and opportunities you have to get information into the hands of residents. So I do appreciate this is another mechanism for that. Just want to make sure our team understands and can work well and best support you.
Thank you. I definitely, and I really appreciate how open they've been with all my questions, and I look forward to continuing to work with them.
Thank you.
Mr. Renner?
Thank you. Jessica, very well done. So the format of this and the goals ring very, very loud to me. So thank you for that. An overall flow of the content, I think this is fantastic. And I deeply appreciate the view that you're looking at it from a team point of view, council as a team, we council, and I think you handle the question about personal newsletters delicately as you can. I'm very much opposed to any kind of links to anybody's newsletter or anything, and I'll just state that for the record. It should be just we council, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you, Ms. Hiltz. I think the draft looks really nice and fits with the city's branding, so thank you to the communications and marketing team as well for their partnership with you. I've said before that it's important that we do what we can to meet residents where they are, and there's no one magical wand in terms of the world of communications and to reach every single resident. It's just impossible. So, and as technology evolves, as social media evolves, as everything moves forward, we got to do what we can to try and meet our residents where they are. And so this is one additional component, one additional element to reach our residents. So thank you very much. I think this looks really sharp, and I look forward to seeing it in practice. Any other questions or comments on this? Seeing none, it is a motion. Are we good for next week on this then? All right. On consent? All right. Thank you, Ms. Hills.
Thank you.
We have a couple resolutions here. Honorary resolutions for introduction and adoption on January 21st. For these, I will turn to Ms. Bowers.
Yeah, thank you. So at a certain point, I'm going to turn this over to Clerk Van Meter and to some other council members who I think are working on some resolutions. But the first one we have is a resolution recognizing Martin Luther King Jr. Day and National Day of Service for January 20th, 2025. Thank you again to Ms. Hiltz for drafting that one as well. I don't believe there were any edits to this one, and I do believe that Mayor Jadwin would like to change this one to a joint resolution proclamation.
Yes, I've done a proclamation for MLK Day every year. So instead of the Department of Redundancy Department, it would make sense if council has a desire for this, we join forces.
Perfect. Okay, so so that's on for for adoption next week as a joint resolution proclamation. And then also Resolution 2-2025. I believe that this was also, I know Mayor Jadwin and I spoke about this one in particular because we both have had family friends that have succumbed to cancer. And I can speak for myself that one of my mom's closest friends died from cervical cancer when I was young, and it stuck with me. So we had reach out from the Crawford crew last year. They asked us to specifically recognize Cervical Health Awareness Month. And so what you have in front of you is a resolution, joint resolution proclamation that has been requested by the Crawford crew and certainly supported by me and I think other members as well. So anything else on this one? Yes.
This seems to be, I know that they have the vaccine for the HPV, but I think it'd be worthwhile to add a whereas that says that the incidence of HPV among individuals who are abstinent is extremely low. And I read that on the National Institute of Health. I meant to bring, I had the site at home and I left it there. But that's one, I mean, that's, especially for young people, I think that's an important thing to, because it seems like a lot of this is directed, at least a lot of the reading I read today was directed at young people. But I think that would be important to point that out.
Do you have a recommended edit?
I do, but it's at home.
Okay.
It's on a little piece of paper, and I walked off without bringing it. Because this is fine, but only goes as far as their only solution is everybody should get the vaccine. So, but that's not the only way to prevent.
Yes, people could also be abstinent.
That's correct.
If you would like to, maybe we can keep this on the regular agenda and introduce an amendment next week on the 21st.
Or I can just send it to you and you could add it.
Oh, yeah.
Before it's.
Just a resolution, right?
Yeah, it is, I'm sorry, it is just a resolution, sorry,
I
that's
can send
right.
it to you all, and if y'all, it's okay, then you can just put it in.
Okay. All right, so the Crawford crew will be here also to receive that resolution. All right. And then that's the two that I had to bring forward to you all. I will, I think, pass the mic to Councilwoman Jones for Resolution 3-2025.
Yes, so recommending a resolution for Black History Month, which is in February. Jeremy, I think, sent out some red line edits We wanted to invite Jewel Woods to receive the ceremonial resolution and I believe joint proclamation with the mayor. His business is located in here and he's particularly focused on mental health for Black men. So the red line edits in the text were to just align it a little bit more with his works versus the national theme, which is on labor. So those are what the edits are, and that was our recommendation, and we'd invite him to that first regular meeting of the month. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, but the first regular meeting in February.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Sorry.
No, you're, oh,
I'm just going to facilitate a meeting.
any other questions, comments, discussion on those resolutions? I see here there's a line for discussion for any other resolutions requested by members. Mr. Clerk, did you have anything?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. One quick go back on resolution number 2-2025. I apologize. The text, the body of that resolution is written as a joint resolution and proclamation, but I will update the title so that does reflect that. And then for the others as requested by members, if council recalls during our December 9th committee meeting, I had initiated a discussion on potential resolutions to honor various events, various causes, to get your feedback on what you would like to highlight as members. I do recall that from that meeting, Councilmember Jones had highlighted SRO Appreciation Day. That is School Resource Officer Appreciation Day. That is February 15th. So we will plan to have that if that is something you're still interested in highlighting, but also wanting to get that other feedback from members on at least February and March, what council staff and partnership with the mayor's office looking at if these are potentially joint resolutions. So just open it up for any members to provide that feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Any requested feedback? Ms. Bowers?
Yeah, I'll just share openly. I have a chart that I've shared with council staff, and so just to share with my colleagues, in addition to the ones that we've already identified, this year I'd like to recognize Government Communicators Day. It would be observed on February 17th, so a committee on committee on February 10th. Certainly would welcome the administration to partner on that one. I think it would be a great opportunity for us to highlight the communication outreach that we're doing as a city and collectively, and certainly to highlight the new initiative that Ms. Hiltz brought forward. And then I'll just briefly go over the next ones. Women's History Month, I would like to observe at the beginning of March. Food Waste Action Week to observe on March 17th. Earth Month to observe on April 7th. Herb Week, which we always recognize the first week of May. And Public Service Month and Mental Health Month in May as well. And I would welcome colleagues to partner with any or all of these. And certainly with the administration as well.
Ms. Jones?
In terms of the, yes, I'm in support of President Bauer's list. I don't know how far in the year that we're going, but I would like to also add Juneteenth to that list as an annual one. In terms of SRO appreciation in February, it is, you know, I think I'm open to what colleagues would want as well, but knowing that we do have 3 for next month, 3 for February, I guess just something to keep in mind as well.
All right, anything further on this item? All right, I guess I'll leave it with encouraging folks to take a look at their at charts that have been shared previously, reach out to Clerk Van Meter in advance so that staff has time to adequately prepare. And I know I have some for later down the road as well, so. That said, anything, yes, Madam Mayor.
Just one more reminder for anybody who might be listening for the Table Talks conversation this Thursday, January 16th from 11 to 12:30. So I just want to give that one more reminder.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Anything further for Committee of the Whole? All right, seeing none, we will adjourn for the evening. Thank you.